Hey, good morning everybody. This is Mike over here at Growtopia, and it is a chilly Sunday on November 24th of 2024. We are currently inside the shade house. We have a bunch of plants that have to get moved from the nursery into here and into the sun house, and we have plants that are in the shade house that have to be moved into other planters. So we got our handy dandy Bible out. And what I got to do is, as I go along with the moving of the stuff around, I like to keep track of it inside the Bible, and that allows me to see the growth period of something and also keep track of where it went, right? So the first thing we're starting off with is the planter that you guys are sitting in right now, which are purple top turnips. And what we're going to do is actually today, because like I said, today is 11/24. And what we're doing is we're moving them to the planter behind me. So I go back a few pages to get the floor plan of the shade house. So you guys are sitting in planter number 8. So they're actually heading over to planter number 1, is where the turnips actually sit. And at the time, that one had a lot more turnips in it. So being that we took half the stock out, I could now take these guys and move them over there. So they're going into planter number 8, also known as zone. (11/24). Okay. Man, hope everybody's doing good with their plants. I hope everybody's got some good stuff growing on with their stuff. It is a chilly day for sure. Inside the greenhouse, it's sitting at about 50% humidity, and it is about 54 degrees inside the shade house. It is super windy outside. It is just brick. Obviously it's going to get colder and colder as time goes on. We've been having somewhat of I don't know if we would say a mildish November. It's kind of about the right temperature, but it's cold and it's hard to do stuff outside because it's just you're trying to do something between the wood chips and the sand and the dirt and stuff just flying into your eyes. It's hard to really kind of do anything. So let's get to moving. What I want to do is I want to clean it up a little bit in here. You know, we got some dead leaves and stuff. I just want to move around. Move some of these turnips over. These turnips are all good and ready to get harvested. But I have no use for them at the moment, so I'm not going to take them out of here. I'm just going to leave them in here. And we are transferring 3 of them over into here. So just want to rough the soil up a little. All the soil in here is very cold and then nice and moist. That's good. And one of the things I like to do is use a little bit for my soil movement is JP's secret stuff. Don't need a lot, just need a little. Just a nice good fertilizer to use. Grab our first little guy here. Down there. Another one. Next one. All right. Okay. Those guys are all good. All right, let's go back to this box here. We have one, looks like one turnip that just didn't take off at all. So what I've been doing recently is, because like I said, I have a lot of bags that it just seemed like I reused them too many times, and just nothing's really doing good in them. So I think just that the nutrients are all taken out of them, or they might have been over fertilized. So I'm gonna stick you guys here against the celery. So what we're sticking in here is, this is considered a temporary planter. This is basically for anything that's going to be sitting around for a short period of time before it gets migrated. Before it gets transplanted outside. Now, what I like about JP's secret stuff is that it's a 3 to 3 to 3 ratio. What that means, it is 3% nitrogen, 3% phosphorus, and 3% potash. But it's also got calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and iron that's in here as well, which is really great, which is all the stuff that it needs. You know, it's got kelp meal, volcanic ash deposit, potassium sulfate, dolomite. It has alfalfa meal, it has fishbone meal, so it's got a lot of good nutrients all mixed in together. So what we're going to do is try not to make a mess on our book. Is we're actually going to be putting a few different temporary guys actually in here. So let's get to where they are on the list. Alright, so we got the red cabbage. So it's 11, 24, 24, and we're transplanting all 5 of them. So this is the greenhouse before they actually end up out into the orchard. Shade house 1. Alright, so let's take a look at that. So let's see. Like I said, these guys are only going to be in here for a short period of time. So what I want to do is, because there's 5 of them, I'm going to do them in a nice row. So I'm going to move back the soil, tilt it back a little bit, and we're going to grab our red cabbage. Now you can see with the red cabbage is that the stems on them actually are reddish. So that's a good way for you guys to tell if you're trying to figure out the difference between your red and your green cabbage. Look for the stems on them. The stems will be red, and for the green cabbage they'll be green. I'll show you guys the green ones because we have those as well. Now these are part of the brassica family. They are a cold loving crop, which I've learned so much in such a short period of time with all these plants that I'm growing on, you know, why they weren't taking off well in the hot 80, 90 degree summer heat. It was because they're not really that much of a heat loving plant like peppers and tomatoes are. So that's why during these fall and winter seasons that you'll start seeing a lot of your brassicas just start taking off, and it just kind of makes you sit there and go, well, why all of a sudden now? Like, what did I do wrong before? Well, what you did wrong before was you didn't really pay attention to what temperatures these plants actually do like. And those are my red cabbages. And like I said, they're planted really close to each other. They're going to get big, but that's just because this is a temporary placement for them now. And they're just going to hang out in here for probably a couple weeks until they can get a little bit bigger, and then I'll stick them right outside. Make the holes for the next ones here. Everything's a 5-on-5, so that's good. As you guys can see here with the green cabbage, you can see how their stems are like a whitish green and they're not that purplish color. Here's another good example of one right here. Look at all these that are popping off out of here. Of course, everybody likes to prune and thin stuff back. I am highly against pruning and thinning stuff back, because if I thin it all back to one hardy stem and then all of a sudden that hardy stem died, now I just lost all my crop. I'd rather just take the bag apart carefully and remove all the individual plants and then separate them all together. And you can get a larger harvest from that. I did that with all my tomatoes. Took one bag and I separated it, and I had 3 or 4 plants that came out of that one bag. all those plants took off this year, and I had abundant supply of tomatoes. And speaking of tomatoes, my tomatoes are still growing right now. They're slowly actually starting to wind down now, just because it is so cold. But there are a few of them out there that were planted so late that they're just still like hanging on. So it's amazing. Nature finds a way. Just like good old Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park is that most epic line ever that I never really understood that well until I really started getting into planting, that nature does find a way. I mean, I have a tomato plant that the top section of it basically broke off, and one of the offside shoots that they tell you to cut off actually went down to the ground and actually started growing up from there. And even though half the plant broke at the top side, the bottom side just was like, oh no, we got this, we're still good, and it just kept growing, and it's still growing out there right now. So we got the red in the back, we got the green in the middle. And then what I'm going to stick in here as well is my snowball cauliflower, which might be in here for quite some time. They're still really small, and they're kind of just somewhat plugging away right now. They're not really doing that great, but they are just kind of plugging away. See, like I got another bag that's got like nothing in it, so I'm just going to break the bag open and distribute all of that stuff, all this beautiful soil that came out of that bag. Just add it right into the planter. Another one here that we found. Stick this guy in there. Now, a lot of times once the plants, you transplant them like such, they're going to go through a little bit of a shell shock stage where it looks like they might be dead, they might be dying off. It's kind of hard to really tell sometimes. These ones, I'm not sure if this bag is going to do good at all, but I'm just going to put it in there. There might be some life in it. And then I got one more bag as well. Let's stick that bag right in there. But yeah, they're going to go through like a bit of a shell shock stage. You know, the bedroom was sitting about between 65 and 70 degrees, depending on the temperature and stuff. I'll show you guys what this looks like. Pretty nice, right? So the bedroom was sitting just a little bit warmer than it is out here, of course. So they're going to go through a little bit of like holy shit stage, but that's fine. They'll recover from that. So that one tray is done. Stick that there. Put my fertilizer back there. Wipe my hands on my pants so I don't get my book dirty. All right, so now we'll go to update. So the green cabbage is in there. It's 11, 24, 24. The soil's so cold, my hands are freaking freezing. And we did another full row of the green cabbage. So we did 5 with a parentheses. Some shade house 1. The cauliflower, snowball cauliflower, is what we have here. It's funny is we did have it listed down as 5, but it's currently only, now it's down to 4. So that's how you can kind of just like keep track of like where, not just where your stuff is growing, but like what happened to it. So for some reason we had 5 of the snowballs, and now we only have 4. And by the looks of it, we might only have 2 or 3. So that's why I always say, like, when you want to thin out your plants, it's not always the greatest idea. Just don't thin them out, just separate them. Once they get growing and they get a little bit bigger and they get out of this little like tiny, I call it like the child stage, you know, they're infants and stuff. Once they get a little older and stuff, and they get a little bit bigger, and they seem like they can survive better, that's when you really want to like start like taking them apart. And then you got all these stems with roots and just and you know, I mean, skies are the miles, people. You know, don't listen to all these people out there that say thin them out, thin them out, thin them. You're an idiot. If you thin something out, you're the biggest fucking idiot in the planet. Because you're spending, let's say, $5 for a bag of seeds, and you throw away 10 or 15 plants because some idiot on YouTube says thin them out. Meanwhile, I don't thin my stuff out. I just separate it. And I take all those individual seeds that I paid money for, and I put all those plants out there, and now I got all these plants. That's great, because Thanksgiving is literally about almost a week from, or actually not a week from now, like literally a few days from now, and I can literally basically this Thanksgiving we already got the bird. So now whatever we have that we're growing that's what we're going to use for our dinner. We're not going to go to the supermarket. So if we didn't get a good harvest of certain stuff that we wanted to have this Thanksgiving, oh well, hey, that's fine. This is my first year of really going balls to the wall with this. So as I learn stuff and fix my errors and stuff, I love putting it out there for everybody else to see so that you guys can better yourselves as well. So enough with that. Now the next stage we're going to go over to the next planter here. Now the problem is there's not a lot of room in here, so I got to really play around with stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slide over here. We're not going to worry about these guys back there, but look how good the romaine lettuces are doing. And I didn't thin these guys out. You could tell at all. See that? None of them are thinned out. They're growing in a large cluster, and they're doing fine. They're doing absolutely fine. Same thing with my arugula is doing fine, and my cilantro over here is doing fine, and this monster celery. Now I don't really have a lot of room to put stuff in here, so a lot of the things I'm actually putting it back outside, ironically. It's just because it doesn't seem like it's doing that great inside, and it's doing way better outside. Don't really know why. I think it's just a little bit too much fiddling with stuff. But, you know, sometimes fiddling might be too much fiddling, right? So, fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. I know you guys can't really see it, but it's like there's no place to really stick the phone, so I'll just tell you what I'm doing. So obviously I'm just roughing up the soil. It's over here in this planter. And what we're putting in here is we have one basil. Taking them out of the pot. Maybe. Hey, get out. There you go. Okay, so I got one basil in here that we're taking out. And this basil smells good. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly squeeze it. Squeeze the soil around it just so I want to see what's really going on inside for roots. You can see like the nice root matter of all these little basils growing together. So stick that right in the back as well. I love when you touch basil. It just has such a beautiful smell to it. Now that was a basil that literally was out in the orchard, went into the sun house, and then got transplanted into the nursery. Now it's going from the nursery back outside because I just don't see it looking like it's doing anything good. We have oregano over here, so we're going to take this oregano out. I'm going to put this oregano on this side, next to the celery. See, we have a tiny Tim that just didn't survive, that was outside and came inside. Yet again, it's just an example of things that were planted just really way too late. So I'm not going to get rid of the tiny Tim. I'm just going to take it and just divvy up that soil into the planter where the turnips are. And then we're going to mark that off the list that that one is done. We got another basil over here. A lot of these basils, as you can see, there's really not a lot of leaf matter left on them, unfortunately. So I know that definitely makes a difference with the plant staying alive or not. If you're coming down to a certain point of like timing with certain plants that just seem like they're not surviving anymore, or you're just having bad luck with them, honestly, it was so easy to grow these from seed. I have absolutely no problem that if my basils are basically done, I'm just going to keep growing them from seed. Just because it's so easy to grow them from seed, to be honest with you. If you get them where they flower, then you can actually get the seeds from that flower and you don't have to buy seeds anymore. Packed full of soil there. But yeah, once a basil flowers, then that's where you get your seeds for a basil. So if you have like one basil plant you use as a flowering plant to get your seeds from, that's like honestly the best idea. I gotta make sure I get the soil out of these planters because I have a tendency to just bring them inside because, you know, I don't care, I'm not washing them out, and they'll be full of soil and I'll be doing something in the nursery, and then, you know, next thing you know, there's like freaking soil all over the ground, and My little cat's freaking screaming at me. What the fuck? You made a mess again, Mike. Jesus Christ. I had dill that was growing. The dill has just died again. I think what it is, just like it wasn't in the right spot. It wasn't getting really enough good nutrients, good sunlight and watering. I kind of like screwed up a little bit on this one planter section I'm doing. I kind of just, I got caught up doing so much other stuff that I like forgot to go and check it one day, and then it turned into the next day and the next day and the next day, and then like I went in there one day and it was like everything was so dry that it was like insane. So if you don't really have like a good schedule on keeping track of your watering, you're gonna have some definitely good problems. Basil. You know, basically in January was when I'm going to start planting all my tomatoes and stuff again inside the nursery. That's when I'm going to have all my other miscellaneous stuff that I need to start growing. Okay, so these guys are going to go to the sun house. Cauliflower, that's sort of somewhat hanging on. Alright, so we got the basils in there, the oregano. Grab our handy dandy book. We're going to go down the line and update where all those basils went to. That'll be box 2. Those are the overwintered that went back outside. So we have basil, what do we got here? We got basil L5, L3, L2, and L6. That means L1 is inside. So L1, do I have L1? No. L1 is inside, right. L2, 11, 24, 24, shade house. L3 we got 11, 24, 24, shade house. Basil 4, L4 we don't have, that might be inside still. We got L5, we did L3, 4 I'm not seeing. We got cinnamon basil, there's that one. They're here. Green pepper, sweet pepper, spinach, dwarf lettuce. Here we go. L5, 11, 24, 24, shade house, 11, 24, 24, shade house. Let's see, we have the oregano, oregano. Kind of sucks writing down the line like dead, 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 you know, but I mean that's what happens. The dill is dead. 4 Italian oregano. Looks like we still have 3 of them growing. The rest of them here. Italian oregano, 714, and now 11, 24, 24, shade house 2. That's probably where that oregano is just going to stay from that time on. Okay. What else we got? So that's it for that planter. That whole planter section, that's done. Move that over to there. Alright, so that's done. Now, let's see. Let's get over into our corner of many things you guys are currently sitting in. So here we have a lot of the Swiss chard that's currently sitting there. So what I want to do is I want to get in here, but I don't want to kill my carrots. See if I can stick this like here. Ah, yeah, perfect. Just for the time being, pop you guys in the corner. Yeah, perfect. Sweet. Got our Swiss chard in here. We're gonna rough everything up. And Swiss chard kind of seems to be doing a little, kind of like pecking away a little bit. So we're just gonna play with some stuff here. I got like so much soil here. I'm like trying to figure out where to move. I move so much soil around in here as I'm like doing stuff. So what I'm gonna do, try to pull this soil back, because I want to just remove these guys around. So I'll put the Swiss chard against the back row over here. There you go. You guys can see what we're doing here. Stick that guy there. Over here, get this Swiss chard, put this Swiss chard right there. Okay. Doink. 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 Alright. Now we can get some movement over here. Okay. What we got over here, we have cauliflower. Cauliflower that's over here as well. Like I said, all these were inside that are now going, I mean outside that are now going, they're outside, went inside and going back outside. So let's see. Cauliflower there. Some of these were actually grown inside and then put into pots because I was going to try to keep them in the winter, but they just, if they will grow better outside, I'd rather grow them outside for multiple reasons. One main reason is it will lower the cost of your electricity bill by far, because now you're not paying for the grow, you're not worrying about the grow lamps and heat lamps and stuff running. Not heat lamps, but the grow lights and the heat mats won't be running. So because I literally just killed 3 shelves. Had 3 shelves that were running with lamps and lights, lamps and heating mat. So now those aren't running. That'll be more money in my pocket. Not that I noticed that much of a draw on my electrical. I was actually kind of comical. I was looking at my electrical bill because he's been sitting inside for a couple months. That whole setup's been running basically almost like a month or 2. And I got my electrical bill and it was actually less than last year, and I'm like, how is that even possible? I got freaking lights and a heating mat's running, and my electric bill's less. Meanwhile, everybody's electric bill has gone through the roof. And I don't have solar panels, so I have no idea why everything is so much less. But I'll take it. I ain't gonna complain. Just kind of comical. I was looking at it, I was like, wow. I was expecting like a pretty hefty freaking bill with all the stuff running, but no. It was actually less than last month. Last go around, not even last month. I only pay my electric every 3 months. It's cheaper in my mind. It's probably not cheaper at all. It actually really doesn't make a difference. That's just how they have it set up. Okay, this is broccoli. Stay. Can't come back with me. I don't know how bad you want it. Celery that I had inside was doing good, and then it died out. No idea. Here's a good showing of it, but you could see how it's like restarting again on the inside. So it was just one of those things that was weird. The only thing I could think of was maybe it was just too warm where it was inside. I don't know. I have no idea. And I have a monster earthworm inside my celery. I don't know if you guys can see that. See it? Inside the house I had a monster earthworm. Inside. Cool. Well, now you're going outside, buddy. So, no, it's too cold out here. Sorry. Plant ain't doing good inside, so let's see if it will liven up out here. Hopefully. I know we're packing in so much, but this is one of these temporary ones, so let's see what happens. Kohlrabi. Not sure what a kohlrabi is, but it has a nice smell to it. So I'm going to take some of the soil out of here. Yeah, the planters over there is a little light on soil, so we're going to take all the soil out that we don't need. Obviously there's an easier way of doing this. I just don't have my bucket with me to transplant the soil, so all I got is 8 million little planters, so that'll work perfect for what I need to do. Alright, let's see what else do we got. We have another kohlrabi. So I talk about like when you want to thin stuff out and separate it, like look at all the separate roots. So you can just stick them all separate, or you can just leave them in a cluster like I'm doing. Makes your life easier when you want to transplant stuff. You don't have a bunch of plants to try to move. They're just all sitting together, and then once they're bigger and they're ready to go, that's it, and you move them. You move them, you separate them, and that's it. You got multiple plants. You're not thinning stuff out and losing your crop because some knucklehead says, oh yeah, thin your plants down. Then plant more seeds. Come on. Come on, people. Stop that shit. Don't do that. Okay. Broccoli that's dead. And another broccoli that's alive. I just got some interesting broccoli that looks like a cactus. That's going to be interesting to grow. I'm like, I keep smelling this weird smell over here, and I realize that my elbow is hitting. I keep, like, every time I touch one of these plants, I'm like, man, they got like a weird minty smell. And then I realize I'm elbowing the basil that's behind me constantly over and over again. muscle. All right. Now you could also put the secret stuff on top. It doesn't always have to be on the bottom, but you don't want to put a lot on. You always just want to have a nice little sprinkle. Less is better. Everybody go nuts when they fertilize. I was watching one video of this guy who was fertilizing his stuff, and he's like, yeah, you got to use this, you got to use that. And I'm like looking it all up online, and it was like $500 worth of fertilizer he used in like one day. He's like, I do this like 3 to 4 times a year. I'm like, you're on crack, motherfucker. I'm like, you're not even saving money at that point. I'm doing this to save money and be healthy. I don't have to buy stuff from the store. So, you know, yeah, that bag's like 70 bucks, but that's still the original bag, and it's like, I still have like probably another year or two's worth out of it. So, and I do a lot of stuff. I got 2 greenhouses, the nursery and the orchard. And I only use it like during transplant, and that's it. What the hell is that? Big ass airplane going above my head. Alright, let's backlog here. So, lemon and lime, good, good, good. Basils, basils, basils. Celery. That was an L1 celery, which is what that was. It's 11, 24, 24. Shade house 1. Shade house, not 1. Shade house 3. It's funny, the reason why I decided to put the celery out here, other than it like died off and started regrowing, was the one that's in here is cranky that I left. I had 2 of them. Both were next to each other. I brought one inside and left one outside. Should have left them both outside. Alright. Peppers, peppers, peppers. Spinach. Spinach bloom, self 12. Being that it's not on here anymore, spinach had died out. It's dead. Let's see, kale. Greenhouse 10, 6, 24. There was 6 of them, and all 6 are still growing, which is great. Red lettuce 10, 6. It's in planting zone 3. No, it's not. Planting zone 3. Red lettuce. I wonder if it ended up on this side. This 3 would be right where you guys are sitting, so nope. Let's see, butter crunch lettuce. Alright, butter crunch lettuce, 1019. French breakfast is in 3. French breakfast. Because it's over there. Yep. Sunhouse. twist shard hook, zone 6, just here, shade house 10, 15, 24, rosemary in rose and sun house. I saw that was doing good. Shade house, Green Acres, shade house 2. It's cabbage, correct? It's still doing good. Sweet oat, they're done. Barley's done. Dead, they're dead. This is dead. Dill is dead. Oregano is in 7. Basil's been moved to 7. Jalapeno and bell peppers still running inside. Thyme is dead. Broccoli, warthorn. It's only 14. There's 13. $11, 24, 24. Shade house 8. Dragon tongue beans. Those are wild, man. Those things are dead. Can't believe it. 11, 24, 24. 2 left. I'm sorry. Brussels sprout, Long Island. Those guys were on the window. There's 1, 2, 3. 11, 24, 24. And those are shade house 8. Cauliflower snowball, they were on the window. 11, 24, 24. Cauliflower snowball are now in here. Shade house 8. Kohlrabi purple, there was 3 plants. 11, 24, 24. Kohlrabi, there's 1, 2, 3 left, so it's 3 out of 3. Shade house 8. This is zone 8 that we're working in. Scotch bonnets are still inside. Lincoln peas. What do we got for the peas? Pea. Alright, let's migrate to the other side while we're finishing off a lot of this stuff here. Move that over there. This. You guys can take a look at my carrots. So I unjam my shit. We got war thumb, broccoli, Long Island Brussels sprouts, and crimson and clover left to do. Plus the 3 eggplants that are going into the sun house, maybe. But what we got over here for you guys to take a look at is we have our carrots that are doing good. This is our lunar carrot. This is our atomic carrot, which is a red carrot. Luna, I think, is white. We have the scarlet carrot, which I'm not mistaken might be purple. Then we got the viola carrot. And then we have our purple carrot. Maybe the scarlet is orange. I'm not sure. I don't remember offhand. You guys can always look that up. Here's our Oregon pea trail. Here's our sugar daddy peas. And then our Lincoln peas. You can just about see right down there. There's what's left of the pea that's popping in. These guys are doing good. Peas are doing great in here. We have our lettuces. We got our red lettuces over here. Another lettuce. I forget which lettuce this was because it didn't have a tag on it. So it just ended up in there. Over there. Oh. We have our kale that we were talking about before. Here's our green cabbage, and then our turnips, and then those are the turnips that we moved from before. So I still got a little bit of all this stuff and some more backlogging to do. So this is Mike over here at Growtopia. This is inside the shade house. 11, 24, 24. Get out there and grow something. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Questions, concerns, comments, please say something below. I love hearing from you people. I want to know more. if you had experience doing something different.